And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, I love to go out to eat. I love to order food. I'm not so sure I would like to, serve the food, but that's the whole point of Diner. This is a little game from Dice Hate Me Games. It's called a Rabbit, one of their small games. This is a speed style game in which you're trying to serve people. I guess that makes sense. That's kind of thematic for putting dishes out on the table. Let's take a look. This game is all about action chips. Each player starts with one player starts with two. And when you say go, everyone plays simultaneously. When I take an action, I hand the action chip to the person on my left. And that person has two action chips, and they can go too. And so you're passing action chips all around. Now, if one person goes super slow and has all the action chips, you can play with the variant that if they have all the action chips, then the person to their right can grab one and keep going. Okay, so that's how the game works. It's a speed style game. So what can you do? Well, one of the things you do is draw a card from one of these piles here into your hand. Players will be slowly drawing a hand of cards of the different resources. Another thing you can do is you can take a card here from the middle and say seating and put it in front of you. Now, for me to fulfill this card, okay, when I do seating, by the way, I need to replace that card that I took from. But here, now that I have this card in front of me, I need to serve these people. To do so, I need to use the cards that are listed here. So here I need a pancake, a steak, and a salad. Okay, so let's say I have these cards in my hand. I have pancake, steak, and a blue plate special, which counts as rare. So I just have to call those out. Pancake, steak, blue house. Again, I have to use a chip to do that. And then I turn this sideways over here, and that's a tip I've gotten. I basically have gotten $7 tip. So this keeps going on. You keep doing this. You're also allowed to call counter, where you basically take one of these and move it over here to the sink, which is the discard pile where you're getting rid of everything anyway, and replace that card again in case you don't like any of the cards that are out here. There's also kind of a break. If you're playing 3 or 4 player games, when 2 of these piles come out, you have a break, you shuffle this, split it up, and you keep going. Now, the game will end when 2 of these stacks are out twice in a 3 to 4 player game, and then everyone simply will add up all the tips that they've gotten, and whoever has the most tips is the winner. However, any card that you took in front of you is a table that you said you would serve, so you'll lose any tips for the ones that you've pulled in front of you that you haven't finished. So you have to keep an eye out for that. That's the whole game. I really like the artwork on this card. We got eggs and bacon, we got steak, we got salad, we got pancakes, we got a burger and fries. This is some delicious food here, and it certainly looks like diner food, which is good. I'm a big fan of diners. I like the idea of them, and I think that the artwork and the graphic design for this game is top-notch. This game has an interesting mechanism where you take an action and you hand the chips to somebody else. This reminded me of a game I played a long time ago from, I forget the name of the company. It was about King Arthur, and you had to pull a sword, and everyone was passing action chips around the table. Well, speed games are speed games, right? And so some people will like them and some people don't, if you're faster than other people. This one here has a small problem with it, 2 small problems with it, and together they kind of turn me off from the game. The one is passing the chips around. It's a very chaotic type thing. When I pass a chip to you, the game's going so fast that I do my action like, oh, that's right, I'm supposed to pass a chip. So I pass a chip to you, I might throw the chip, I have to make sure I put the chip near you. Because the game's going so fast, those chips are flying around the table, and it's really easy to cheat. Not on purpose, but like, oh, okay, I took an action. I did pass you a chip, right? I think I was supposed to. So that's problematic. You could say, well, pass the chip first, then do the action. But in the heat of the game, that happened multiple times. And that's the second part where people not replacing cards in the middle, which you're supposed to do, but sometimes you forget. And then it's like, well, who took that card? The game is going so fast and people are doing it that occasionally or often people are going to make mistakes. If passing the chip, like, oh, I meant that, and the chip fell on the floor. The card's over here. Someone didn't replace the card in the middle. Whose fault is that? Well, I don't know, but it affects me now because I'm supposed to be grabbing cards. And the whole thing just becomes messy. I like the concept. Grabbing cards, fulfilling the orders, doing the tips. The thing sounds great in theory, but every time I played it in practice, it was just too messy. I don't know. I know that maybe that's thematic for the diner. But just the things flying around, the cards not being replaced, the stacks getting messy, and again, then the things you're supposed to shout out. Order up, serve this, and people can't remember which ones they're supposed to shout out, so they're shouting out just stuff. We know that when you fulfill something, that's easy. Pancake, salad. That's kind of an odd order for a table anyway, but it's a kind of a more interesting game in concept, and I think some people are still going to get a kick out of it. Oh yeah, I love this, moving around really fast. But probably of all the rabbits, this is the one I dislike the most, I think. And not even that I hate the game, because it was funny and entertaining and interesting as we played it. But when it was done, I was like, no, that was just too messy. That was just too... I don't know that I want to play it again, and I think that's problematic for this. A speed game is one thing, but a speed game that doesn't really punish you for making mistakes because no one really is sure who made them, that's a little bit more problematic. That's Diner. Great theme, though. Dice Tower Judgment, yummy pictures, but too chaotic.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Hörru, stäng dörren!
Du?